Hello, everybody. This is Mrs. Martinsen, and I'm glad you came back to keep listening to me reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid. This is the fourth installment of it. So remember, he's writing a diary, and he's on Tuesday, and they just started the wrestling unit, and they found out it wasn't like the wrestling on TV. So they weren't hitting each other with chairs and jumping off the ropes on each other and flipping each other or anything like that. And they had to wear these funny outfits too. All right, so here it says Tuesday. This wrestling unit has totally turned our school upside down. Now kids are wrestling in the hallways, in the classrooms, you name it. But the 15 minutes after lunch where they let us outside is the worst. You can't walk 5 feet without tripping over a couple kids going at it. And by that I think they mean play wrestling, right? I just try to keep my distance and mark my words, one of these fools is going to roll right onto the cheese and start the cheese touch all over again. Honestly, I forgot about the cheese. Remember that old piece of cheese they talked about? It was like the cooties. If somebody touched it, then they could touch you and then you'd have the cheese touch. Oh. Anyways, my other big problem is that I have to wrestle Fregley every single day. But this morning I realized something. If I can move out of Fregley's weight class, meaning he could get heavier, I won't have to wrestle him anymore. So today I stuffed my clothes with a bunch of socks and shirts to get myself into the next weight class. But it still was too light to move up. And if you look here, you'll see he's all lumpy because he's got shoved stuff up in his clothes. I realized I was going to have to gain weight for real. At first I thought I should just start loading up on junk food, but then I had a much better idea. I decided to gain my weight in muscle, not fat. I've never been all that interested in getting in shape before, but this wrestling unit has me rethink things. Or has made me rethink things. I figure if I bulk up now, it could actually come in handy down the road. The football unit is coming in the spring, and they split up the teams into shirts and skins, and I always get put on skins. So let me explain that to you guys. We don't do that at most of our schools, but in some schools, especially when the kids get older, they have only the boys do gym together and only the girls do gym together. And if the boys are having a team sport, they make the two teams be kids with shirts and kids without shirts. They take their shirts off and then they call them the skins. Okay? So that's why they have no shirts here. You see him, Greg, and I don't know who that is. Maybe that's Rowley. It's hard to tell. Anyways, he says, I think they do that to make all the out-of-shape kids feel ashamed of themselves. And see, he's feeling embarrassed because he's so skinny. And maybe this kid is feeling embarrassed because he's not very skinny, right? If I can pack on some muscle now, it'll be a whole different story in April. Greg Heffley, you're on skins. And look, he says, rip, he's so muscular that he's tearing his clothes with his muscles. At least in his imagination, right? Tonight after dinner, I got Mom and Dad together and told them my plan. I told them I was going to need some serious exercise equipment and some weight gain powder too. I showed them some muscle magazines I got at the store so they could see how ripped I was going to be. Mom didn't really say anything at first, but Dad was pretty enthusiastic. I think he was just glad I had a change of heart from how I used to be when I was a kid. If you work out regularly, you can get big muscles. And then he says, muscles are gross. Also, remember, he mainly likes to play video games. He was pretending to exercise before, so this should be interesting. My mom said if I wanted a weight set, I was going to have to prove that I could stick with an exercise regimen. She said I could do that by doing sit-ups and jumping jacks for 2 weeks. I had to explain that the only way to get totally bulked up is to get the kind of high-tech machines that they have at the gym, but Mom didn't want to hear it. I think she's worried if she spends a lot of money on weight machines, he'll do them for just a couple days and decide he doesn't like it and stop doing it. And it'll be wasted money, right? Then Dad and I wanted a bench press. Then Dad said if I wanted a bench press, I should keep my fingers crossed for Christmas. But Christmas is a month and a half away. And if I get pinned by Fregley one more time, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. So it looks like Mom and Dad aren't going to be any help. And that means I'm going to have to take matters into my own hands as usual. Saturday. I couldn't wait to start my weight training program today. Even though Mom wouldn't let me get the equipment I needed, I wasn't going to let that hold me back. So I went to the fridge and emptied out the milk and orange juice and filled the jugs with sand. Then I taped them to a broomstick and I had myself a pretty decent barbell. You see that he's making his own weights. After that, I hope he didn't pour the milk and orange juice down the drain though. I hope he put them in something else. Anyways, after that, I made a bench press out of an ironing board and some boxes. Once I had that all set, I was ready to do some serious lifting. By that, he means weightlifting, to get really strong. I needed a spotting partner, so I called Rowley, and when he showed up at my door wearing some ridiculous getup, I knew I had made a mistake inviting him. I think he's wearing leg warmers. I'm concerned. Oh, look, and gloves with no fingers. I made Rowley use the bench press first, mostly because I wanted to see if the broomstick was going to hold up. He did about 5 reps and he was ready to quit, but I wouldn't let him. That's what a good training partner is for, to push you beyond your limits. 15 more, come on. See, he's saying that, and here's Fragley trying to push weights up, and they're listening to music. I knew Rowley wasn't going to be as serious about weightlifting as I was, so I decided to try out an experiment to test his dedication. In the middle of Rowley's test, I went and got this phony nose and mustache Roderick has in his junk drawer. And when Rowley had the barbell in the down position, I leaned over and looked at him. He said, "Phew." Sure enough, Rowley totally lost his concentration. He couldn't even get the barbell off his chest. I thought about helping him out, but then I realized that if Rowley didn't get serious about working out, he was never going to get to my level. Gasp, sputter. Ugh. I think it's hurting him because he can't get it off his chest, right? I eventually had to rescue him because he started biting the milk jug to let the sand leak out. After Rowley got off the bench press, it was time for my set, which means it was time for his turn to do maybe 10 or 15 of the exercises. But Rowley said he didn't feel like working out anymore, and he went home. I figured he'd pull something like that, but I guess you can't expect everyone to have the same kind of dedication as you. Wednesday. Today is in geography. We had a quiz. And I have to say, I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. The quiz was on state capitals. I sit in the back of the room right next to the giant map of the United States. And all the capitals are written in big red print, so I knew I had this one in the back. So he's thinking to cheat by looking at this anchor chart on the wall. Do you see that? That's of the United States with all the different state capitals written on it. But right before the test got started, Patty Farrell piped up from the front of the room. Teacher. See, she's raising her hand. Patty told Mr. Ira that he should cover up the United States map before we get started. Nice catch, Patty. Uh-oh, I bet you Greg didn't study. So thanks to Patty, I ended up flunking the quiz, and I will definitely be looking for a way to pay her back for that one. Thursday, tonight Mom came up to my room, and she had a flyer in her hand. As soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what it was. It was an announcement that the school is having tryouts for winter play. Man, I should have thrown that thing out when I saw it on the kitchen table. I guess he doesn't want to be in school play. I begged her not to make me sign up. Those school plays are always musicals, and the last thing I need is to have to sing a solo in front of the whole school. But all my begging seemed to do was make Mom more sure that I should do it. Mom said the only way I was going to be well-rounded was by trying different things. Dad came in my room to see what was going on. I told Dad that Mom was making me sign up for the school play, and that if I had to start going to play practices, it would totally mess up my weightlifting schedule. I knew that would make Dad take my side. Dad and Mom argued for a few minutes, but Dad was no match for Mom. So that means tomorrow I've got to audition for the school play. Friday. The play they're doing this year is The Wizard of Oz. A lot of kids came wearing costumes for the parts they were trying out for. I've never even seen the movie, so for me it was like walking into a freak show. Now, I don't know if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, but I have, and I can see right here that someone's dressed as one of the flying monkeys. So if you've seen it, you know that here's probably the Cowardly Lion, and here is probably the Tin Man, right? If you've seen it. Mrs. Norton, the music director, made everyone sing My Country 'Tis of Thee so she could hear our singing voices. I did my singing tryouts with a bunch of other boys whose moms made them come too. I tried to sing as quietly as possible, but of course I got singled out anyways. What a lovely soprano! No, so he's trying to do poorly, but the lady heard him. I have no idea what a soprano is, but from the way some of the girls were giggling, I knew it wasn't a good thing. I'll tell you that a soprano is someone who has a high voice, and usually it's girls who sing soprano, so that's probably he has a high voice still, so he's embarrassed. Tryouts went on forever. The grand finale came with auditions for Dorothy, who I guess is the lead character in the play. And who should try out first but Patty Farrell? And here she's dancing. See, tap, 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 like tap dancing. Now you might remember that was the girl who told the teacher about the map on the wall and that they should cover it up. And then he vowed revenge because he failed his quiz, right? I thought about trying out for the part of the witch because I heard that in the play, the witch does all sorts of mean things to Dorothy. But then somebody told me there's a good witch and a bad witch, and with my luck, I'd end up being picked for the good one. Monday, I was hoping Mrs. Norton would just cut me from the play, but today she said that everyone who tried out is going to get a part. So lucky me. Yeah, he didn't really want to be in it, and now he's in it, right? Mrs. Norton showed the Wizard of Oz movie, so everyone would know the story. I was trying to figure out what part I should play, but pretty much every character has to sing or dance at one point or another. But about halfway through the movie, I figured out what part I wanted to sign up for. I'm going to sign up to be a tree because, 1, they don't have to sing, and 2, they get to bean Dorothy with apples, which means throw apples and hit her with them. See that? He's thinking he would enjoy doing that. Getting to peg Patty Farrell with apples in front of a live audience would be my dream come true. I may actually have to thank Mom for making me do this play once it's all over. After the movie ended, I signed up to be a tree. Unfortunately, a bunch of other guys had the same idea as me, so I guess there are a lot of guys who have a bone to pick with Patty Farrell. Wednesday. Well, like Mom always says, be careful what you wish for. I got picked to be a tree, but I don't know if that's such a good thing. The tree costumes don't actually have any armholes, so I guess that rules out any apple throwing. Bummer. And you can see his face here. See him? Beep. His face is sticking out of that costume. I should probably feel lucky that I got a speaking part at all. They had too many kids trying out and not enough roles, so they had to start making up characters. Rodney James tried out to be the Tin Man, but he got stuck with being a shrub. And you can see here a shrub. Shrub is like a bush. Friday. Remember how I said I was lucky to get a speaking part? Well, today I found out I only have one line in the whole play. I say it when Dorothy picks an apple off my branch. Ouch! Pluck. That means I have to go to a 2-hour practice every day just so I can say one stupid word. I'm starting to think Rodney James got a better deal as the shrub. He found a way to sneak a video game into his costume, and I'll bet that really makes the time go by. Look, beep, boop, beep, as he's playing in there. So now I'm trying to think of ways to get Mrs. Norton to kick me out of the play, but when you only have one word to say, it's really hard to mess up your lines. Ouch! And that's where I'm going to stop today. I hope you'll come back and we can read more and see how the play goes next time.